So for those of you who may have been on vacation or not here for the last couple of weeks, we started our summer series, which is based on the book that many of you are holding right now by Pam Grout, E Cubed. And for those of you who don't remember, 2 summers ago in 2013, we did E Squared. So does everybody have their book? Raise your hand if you don't have your book. I mean, you don't have to have it here, but haven't received a copy yet. Oceana needs one. I thought, so can we bring Oceana a copy of the book? Do you want one too? Yeah. No, you sure? They're free. Free. Oh, never say no to the universe. Never say no to the field of potentiality. You know, because you know what it does? It listens and says, okay, that person doesn't want to be blessed. So, I'm just using you as an example because we all do it. How many times does somebody offer you something and you say no? Oh, no. Okay. And then the universe says, well, okay. Just think about it. Just think about it, because that's what this is all about. It's about looking at these energy experiments that will manifest magic and miracles in our lives, which is supposed to be our full-time what? Gig. Job. You don't like it. Gig. She says gig. So we started with experiment number 1, which is the Boogie Woogie Corollary. Remember that one? And it's based on changing the belief. And now she uses worldview 1.0 as the worldview that most of us existed. No, don't give me my good. Okay? Or worldview 2.0, which is, wow, I am a child of God, deserving of all good things all of the time. I forgot how she said it. We come here to what?
Be happy.
To be happy and to experience good. I mean, it's like a total mind flip from what, I'm born, I suffer, and I die, right? Life is a bowl of cherries and I got the pits. This is a different way of thinking that we're asking you to do. For just 9 weeks, you could go back in the fall, which is really typical in New England when it starts to get cold again and we all get blue. But maybe this energy, maybe this excitement this summer is going to carry us through the winter of 2016 in a different way. So anyway, the Boogie Woogie Corollary, that experiment number 1, was based on worldview 1.0, which says events happen, therefore I feel bad. And it was to change that belief, that meme, to joy is my natural state. Joy is my natural state. In fact, the more fun I have, the better life will be. Why do we only play in the summer when we're on vacation? So we had 3 games that we were supposed to do with that first experiment. Remember, getting up on the right side of the bed, setting that intention to have fun, right? Putting your order into the field of potentiality. The field of potentiality is Pam Grout's word for God. We can call it FP, field of potentiality, but put your order in to the field of potentiality that you're going to get the most amazing cosmic joke that's going to amuse you. And then the 3rd game in experiment number 1 was what? It was to be grateful for everything. What I like to call the good, the bad, and the ugly. Based on that Clint Eastwood Western, remember? Yeah. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Okay. Then last week we rolled out experiment number 2, the red pill corollary. Now, how many of you ate your red pill every day? The little bit of Twizzler? For those of you who are here, you know what I'm talking about. In The Matrix, Neo is given the option of taking the blue pill and staying asleep, or taking the red pill and waking up. Great movie. So that was based on the old worldview that this experiment, the red pill corollary, was on the meme, life happens to me, versus the new worldview, life emanates from me. Life doesn't happen to you. You're not a victim. No. Life emanates from you. Emanates from what? Your consciousness. Life is consciousness, folks, okay? So we set an intention for 8 possibilities within the field of potentiality to draw into our consciousness. We were going to go out there and say, okay, if life emanates from me in the next week, we're doing it weeks. She's giving 72 hours, but we get a whole week. In the next week, I want evidence of a belly laugh. I want evidence of a toy from my childhood, my favorite song from high school, the number 222, a beach ball, a senior citizen in a fashionable hat. I love it. Everybody good. Yeah, I love that. I was hoping, I said, I should have sent an email out. Ladies and gentlemen, wear your fashionable hats if you're a senior citizen. A smile from a baby and a billboard with a message from you. So let's turn to page 100 in your books and get some testimonies from your lab reports. How did everybody do? Now last week I didn't give a lab report because I admitted to you I had a miserable, stinky week where I stayed in Worldview 1.0 for the whole week. But this week, that's why I'm much more energetic and excited. I'm so happy. I had such a great week. Because I did experiment number 1 and I did experiment number 2, but I'm just going to report to you on experiment number 2. So my belly laugh came, I love The Big Bang Theory. I love that show. And I never get to watch it on Thursday, but Mommy was out at a concert with June, and I got to watch a new episode of the Big Bang Theory. And there's this scene where there's those cans of peanut brittle that are really when you open them and the snake comes out? Oh, yeah. So Sheldon puts this on Leonard's desk, and Leonard goes, I wonder what this could be. He opens it up, and it was actually peanut brittle. How many people saw this? And then he goes, so what's this? And he looked up, and Sheldon hit him with a cream pie right in the face. And it was just, I couldn't stop. I mean, I really laughed. I laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed because it was unexpected. Anyway, I loved it. I have no report on a favorite toy. Sorry.
Monopoly.
Monopoly wasn't a favorite toy of mine. Sorry, you guys. I mean, it's okay, but I play with Barbies and Kittles, and so I expect some in the mail or whatever. Okay, but I didn't get that. Now, I graduated from high school in 1977, and I have Sirius radio in my car, so they have a station that plays the 70s. So I just put that station on all week long. And I heard a lot of songs that I really liked, but nothing really was I'm like, this is not my favorite song, this is not my favorite song. I mean, I liked a lot of them. So last night, this was incredible. There's never anything on TV on Saturday night that my mom enjoys. So I went over to look at what DVDs there were from her collection, and there were these 3 DVDs lying against the TV. And what do I pull out? I pull out, this is a CD of the 70s, Feelings, and it was wrapped. It had never been opened. I have never seen it before. I look at this, and on the back of it has my favorite song, The First Time Ever I Saw Your Face. So I took it, and I listened to it last night. I listened to it coming in. So that was mind-blowing, totally mind-blowing for me. Because I was like, wow, where did that come from? And then with the 222, I was coming down the road. I'm driving down the road. I have the right of way to turn right, and this other guy he's got his blinker on to turn in the same direction as me. It would have been left for him. And he whips in front of me. No. I have the right of way. So I'm a little annoyed, but then I just breathe. And I'm like, okay, it doesn't matter. And I turn behind him, and his license plate is 222. And then I'm in class. I'm at Prosperity Plus One. It's the final lesson from Mary Morrissey. And what is the first thing she says almost within the first 5 minutes? She's telling us about Henry Thoreau. The whole class is there, many of us doing this experiment. And she talks about how Henry Thoreau was on Walden Pond for 2 months, 2 weeks, and 2 days. And we all went, it's cool. Now, beach balls, senior citizen, and fashionable hats, smiling babies. I had a lot of those on Facebook. But I have to tell you about this one beach ball. I was driving home, and this was yesterday too, and I turn onto Maple Street, which is a street right before my street, and I come around the corner, and there is a beach ball sitting right on the edge of the street. It was just amazing. Anyway, I was like... morning I saw both a man and a woman who looked like they were senior citizens with fashionable hats on. So because I was driving down, I'm like, I want more, FP. So I got some more hats. And then my billboard was, I won't go into all what it means to me, but there was one that said real change. And today's daily word is change, which I love, by the way, too, with everything that's going on. So that's my report. There we So here we go. Who wants to testify?
Do I have to stand up? Okay.
Testify.
I'm not going to stand up, but last Sunday I went to a birthday party, and I just read the list of everything that I know I wanted to bring out into my life, and there was, I saw a beach ball, the song from my childhood, from high school was one of the Beatles. Actually, all of the Beatles songs, but any one of them. Now I can't remember the name. Oh, all right. I have too many thoughts in my head. That's why I don't remember the name. 222 came on the TV. No, the time. The time.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Box. And I'm like, oh, that's my 222. And let's see, fashionable senior citizen hat. I saw. Joellen had one on. And I was watching something on Facebook last night, and they had a baby that was laughing. She was just giggling so much.
Yeah, there were so many smiling babies on Facebook.
There was just so many babies.
If you have the right friends, you have a lot of fun on Facebook.
Yeah.
If you have friends that are bringing you down, that are posting, this person all beat up and maimed on the, delete them.
I always do.
Friends that be happy.
So that belly laugh, I was with some friends and we were just laughing about something, and I was with Jane, and we were just laughing and laughing and laughing. So we had, so it's out there.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Good stuff. I was saying, if you're on Facebook and you're seeing pictures that bring you down, why are you friends with that person?
Delete it.
Get friends who post pictures of happy, smiling babies.
Well, Fern Lee was here this past Friday, and she did the laughing yoga. So we laughed and laughed and laughed. We laughed ourselves silly.
Yeah.
And I got to spend time with my grandson yesterday at the water park on Shrewsbury Street. So I saw a lot of children smiling, babies smiling, beach balls and all that. So I didn't get a chance to read the book yet, but because I've been busy, but I try to live the book every day.
Anybody else? Okay, here we go.
Okay. I did everything I was supposed to do. The only thing I'm going to share is the billboard, what I liked. Once she stopped rushing through life, she was amazed how much more life she had time for.
Wow. Ooh, I like that. That's deep. As Maria Nemeth would say, deeply deep. It is so. Anybody else? Okay. Coming over, Jill.
We found everything, 222s with a game, with friends, and we laughed. But the billboard was really hard, and we didn't have it this morning. So Pat and I got in the car and we said, okay, we need to see a billboard. And as on the way to church, there's a billboard that said, Friendly's Ice Cream, only $1.99. All summer long. And we're like, okay,
Yeah, exactly. It didn't say what kind of message for you. It could be a message, come and get ice cream all summer. Anybody else? This is a lot of fun. Lois.
I got them all, but my belly laugh was pretty funny. I was with Arlene on Monday for quite a while, and I needed to give her lunch. Well, if anyone knows me, I'm not going to be cooking. So I said, let's send out. So we sent out, and we waited, and nothing came. And it was like an hour later, and she said, don't you think we should call? I said, okay, so she calls. She calls, and when she calls, the man says, well, we're on our way. And all of a sudden, that clicks off. And a tune comes on, no announcement, but a tune. And I don't know if everyone knows this, but years ago, a monkey grinder would be in Boston. And they had that music of the monkey grinder. I don't know what the name of the music was, because I was just a little kid. But all of a sudden, that came on. And Arlene and I were in our chairs dancing, and we had the belly laugh, because it was so funny. It was so funny. I dreamed of a kite. My favorite song is I Feel Good. I saw 222 when I played with a game with friends. I saw a beach ball on the TV. A senior citizen with a hat. I saw in fellowship right after our Sunday lesson. And the baby was laughing. So I saw them all. And I saw a message on a billboard that I've seen 3 or 4 times before, and I think I need to listen to that message.
What is it? What's all good? All right. Anybody else? How are we doing? It's not too late, if you haven't started, don't let the summer pass without starting. I mean, these are the kind of experiments that you can do in 3 days. So you could do 3 experiments still almost in a week, almost. So let's move on to experiment number 3, because that's where we are. That's where we're headed this week. And it's the Simon Cowell corollary. How many people know about Simon Cowell? Yeah, I mean, Simon is he got a reputation of being a really nasty judge because he could be so hard on people. And so that's why she picked him for this particular experiment, because the worldview one belief that we're going to challenge with this experiment is that my job is to judge between right and wrong and black and white. And what we're going to be doing with this experiment is opening ourselves to the possibility that the true belief from Worldview 2.0 is nothing is absolute, only my thinking makes it so. Think about that. Nothing is absolute truth, only my thinking makes it so. I've talked to you before about we give everything its meaning.
Shakespeare.
And we can be looking, Jane and I can look at the same situation. I'll give it one meaning and she can give it another meaning. Which is true? We spend a lot of time debating, I'm right, you're wrong. All right, so this is challenging this. This is huge. This is taking on the third dimension belief in polarity, in duality, in us versus them, that absolute thinking of right and wrong, good and evil, black and white, good guys versus bad guys, win or lose, you or me. Yes? That's what this is all about.
And that's why 1.0.
Well, yeah, 1.0 is the belief in absolute reality. That there is one truth. Even Unity does that, folks, so breathe. Worldview 2.0 is about the quantum world in the field of infinite possibility and potentiality. There is no reality that is truer than any other.
Wow.
We spend our whole life trying to figure out the truth. Right? But what if there's no such thing as absolutes, no definite truth? What would that mean for us? I mean, she talks in this chapter about, because we take this approach of there's a right and a wrong, we cut out 50% of the possibilities in our lives. 50% of our potential energy. These constant judgments, folks, are erecting a curtain, as Pam Grout says, between us and that field of potentiality. We're shutting ourselves down, closing ourselves off from all of these possibilities. So just think about how this happens in our life, in our world, and in our relation with others. You know, if I have an agenda with somebody, and I see this happen in my life, where I have decided that somebody's wrong, or they're not doing the right thing, what I'm going to do is spend a lot of time collecting evidence to prove that. Everything that I see about them, think about them, say about them will reinforce that belief system. And that's what happens to us in a lot of our relationships. Think about who you are most upset with right now. And are you indeed not telling a story about them and collecting evidence to support it? What do you think if you shifted? Is there a possibility that the opposite is true about that person? And would you be able to collect evidence to support the opposite view about that person? And you can take it beyond person. It can be issues. Oh my goodness, do we ever take sides on issues? And you know, I'm right, you're wrong. I mean, there's been a number in the media just lately with marriage, with the Confederate flag. You know, there's always issues for us to take. This is the stand of the right. And don't we have groups of people on both sides? Yes. But I'm right. And I'll prove why I'm right. Whichever side you're on. Think about it. But in this experiment, I love that Pam Grout says we're not going to go out and try to, you know, to do this experiment with one of the collective consciousness memes or one of the beliefs that you have about another person. We're going to start with you. What are the beliefs that you have that are absolute about yourselves that is cutting you off from the field of potentiality, from infinite possibilities? And she gives some examples. This is throughout her chapter. She says, maybe you think, oh, I'm not photogenic. I don't know why I looked at you for that, because you and the girls are all over Facebook. Why do I think I'm not photogenic? Why am I unlucky in love? Why don't I believe I don't make enough money. I believe that I can never leave a loveless relationship. Or I'm not a very good public speaker, or I have trouble sleeping, or I hate to exercise, or I've never been organized. You know, folks, these stories are no more true for you, if you have some of those, than the opposite. What? You have spent your whole life gathering evidence and support to say this is why this is true about me. So I'm going to give you some of my common ones. I haven't decided which one I'm going to take into the experiment this week, but I have been thinking about, well, what are some of my common memes, my common beliefs, my world view 1.0 about me? One is my memory is no good. I'll give you some evidence. Got together with a friend that I haven't seen in years that I used to work with in social work. We worked at the Rape Crisis Center of Central Massachusetts together for years. And she was talking about a recent, I thought she was talking about a recent stroke that she had. And I said, oh, you had a stroke? She goes, no, I had the stroke back in 1998. You were there. I was so embarrassed. Then I'm looking at her name's Barbara, and I'm like, so Barbara, how are your daughters, Cindy and Barbara? And she looks at me, Cindy and Chrissy. So I have this belief that I'm no good with names, I'm no good with details, I can never remember anything. That's one, all right? I also have always believed I'm not creative. I can't paint, I have no artistic expression. That's one of my lifelong belief in myself that, oh my goodness, I would draw a stick figure if you gave me a paintbrush. How's that? That I never take any notice of my environment. I love that story about myself. It lets me off the hook a big time. I'm a space cadet. You could change something in a room and I won't notice it for a year. I love the story where I lived in a house and I lived there for 2 years. And one time I went into the living room and one wall she had like a southwestern motif in this house. And it was like blue on one wall and white on one wall. And I'm like, when did you do that? And she said, it's always been that way. See, I love these stories. then, so my belief is I don't notice my environment. So if you change anything, don't expect me to notice. I'm getting better though, I noticed your hair.
How would you not?
And then I have some deeper ones. Really, And you don't have to go for the really hard ones. I don't know how you're going to do in a week. But I'm not going to go into those with you. So anyway, I'm like, boy, I was just like brainstorming. But sometimes we have some really, really limiting beliefs about ourselves. So you pick a belief that you have developed a story, maybe over a lifetime about. It is so cemented in your consciousness. And this experiment is saying, what would it mean to flip that over and have the opposite point of view? Because a belief is only a thought that we think over and over and over again. We decide how it is, and we proceed to do everything we can to prove that conclusion, to gather up evidence to prove that it's true. So let's look in your books, because this is what we're doing. We're going to page 112 and 113. Okay, here we go. All right, so we're looking at the method. In this experiment, you're going to pick an old story and you're going to flip it. You're going to take a reality that you believed is absolute fact and you're going to actively look for its exact opposite. I know you're thinking of something. If not, maybe some of these falsehoods that I used to repeat about myself, and I listed some of them for you just a minute ago, might give you some ideas. Here's some more. I'm not that comfortable at parties. I've never been that great at relationships. I sometimes suffer from depression. It really doesn't matter. It simply has to be something you've repeatedly said and believed about yourself. Pick an identity that you've worn like a pair of your favorite jeans. Okay? Now you're going to rewrite it. And during this week-long time frame, you're going to look for evidence of this new reality. You're going to actively look for all signs, any fragment or pottery shard of the opposite of this statement that up until now you have believed. So are you open? Are you willing? Are you ready to change one of the solidified concrete beliefs you have about yourself? And I want to go even a step further. Are you willing to suspend some of the beliefs that you have about others too for the week? To just open up to the possibility that they're opposite of what you are claiming them to be? I would love to see that. So with that, let's stand and join together in singing the song, I Release.